Greetings everyone, this is Elizabeth and I am here with you with the Fairy Hugs video design team. I'm super excited. This is my first design team and my first video for Fairy Hugs. Whoop whoop! I hope you're all having a beautiful, wonderful day and are wanting to make a card. And today we are going to make this cutie patootie. We're going to change it up a bit. I did already do a video, but I wasn't happy with the card, so we're gonna fix some of my boo-boos. Like this here, and then some stuff that happened down here. We're gonna perfect this a little bit. But yeah, so let's get started. What you will need to follow it along is an A2 size card. I used the top fold, but you can use the side one, whichever you prefer. The A2 card panel, which will trim so we get a nice little border. We need 2 stamps. We need Fox, and then we need Dotted Mushrooms, both by Fairy Hugs. And you can find those stamps linked in the description below for you. Also in the description, you will find a link for these, also at Fairy Hugs. These are pretty fun. They are a clear wax resist, so whatever you cover up with them is going to stay clear and pristine. And if you work with them, you can actually layer color on top of them and do fun effects. We're going to need our ink blending brushes or blender tools, whatever you have handy. And we're going to have a dusty, kind of grungy looking purple. We don't want a bright or vibrant purple, something kind of mystical. And then we're going for a dark green for our base. So I pulled out the Rustic Wilderness. Whatever you have handy will work. We need a dark blue. Okay, again, nothing bright and shiny. We want it dark, like stormy weather. And then we want a bright blue because we're going to have that lightning come in and it's going to brighten up some of that sky. So we want a bright blue. Okay, so we've got our inks ready. We've got our stamps on our Stampin' Block. You can use the positioners, of course. And then I have a cloud stencil. I have a mountain stencil and some grass stencils. Well, I have grass stencils somewhere. And of course, I almost forgot, we need a crisp, good black ink. If you don't have a crisp black, you know, multiple layers, that's when a positioner comes in handy. Ooh, pardon me. Sorry about that. Something irritated my nose. But your stencils, if you don't have grass stencils, which I didn't, and I don't have a grass die cut either, so I just made my own. If you make your own, make sure that your points go in. We don't want the part where they're jagged, okay? That'll give a different effect and not quite what we're going for today. So all your grass wants to be pokey on the inside. And then a coloring. You can use Copics, you can use alcohol markers, you can use pencils, pens, whatever you have. Today I thought I'd dust off my Crayolas and use them to color our picture. So let's get started. We have our card panel, and first thing we need to do is ink up our little fox. Okay, we want him nice and inky. Okay, if you have splotches, that's not going to ink very good. We want nice even coverage. So I'm going to flip it around. And super light taps, because if you get heavy-handed with your taps, then you're going to get it in places you don't want. Just move them around, ink them up, focus on areas, and then get a nice even coat of black ink. Cover that so I don't keep checking my fingers, because during making the other card I got ink everywhere. It was terrible. Okay, so we're gonna put him in the same spot ish, right here in the corner. Okay, and I already have a little mask made, so I'm going to peel that off of there. Let's get this off. Set that aside. We're going to peel our little mask off. Depending on what you use for masking, it will last through a couple. Make sure that's nice and dry. And when I cut my mask, I cut on the inside line. So that way there, when we go to ink blend, we don't get a white halo. Okay. That paper is going to be an edge stopper, so our ink won't go in. So we want to leave a little halo. Okay, so there's the actual stamp right there. You can see. So if it's not perfect, that's okay. But we're going to smoosh it down nice and good. Okay. Now we're going to grab our mushrooms. Okay. We're going to ink these little guys up. Nice and tappity tap taps. Again, nice, beautiful, even coverage. Check before you stamp. And we are going to, I'm going to put this right next to it. No, I'm not, because it's all bumpy. I'll fix it later. I'm going to tip this over my little fox because I want him like under the mushrooms. Okay. So we give a nice even pressure and we let it sit there for a couple of seconds before we pull off, just so it soaks in and gets happy with the paper. Okay, that's a good sign. Let that come off. And ooh, I didn't ink off the page. All right, so that's good. So now we have a beautiful light inking. What we're gonna do is scooch it over and down, and I think we'll go this way with it, and we're gonna stamp again. Okay, nice even pressure. Oops, peel that off. I'll have to set him back down. But then we get this nice shadow of mushrooms, just to add some texture and depth. I'm gonna use my rag to put little fox back down. Okay, so I don't get ink on my fingers. Then we're gonna ink our mushrooms again. We got those way high, so we'll have to make sure those are on like a little hill. Okay, and now we're going to tip these that way so he looks like he's in a canopy of mushrooms. There we go. So we are done with the black stamping, so we'll get that out of the way. Nice even pressure, it looks fabulous. I'm going to clean my two little stamps, little squirt of water. That Nocturne ink, it does stain, don't be sad. It doesn't ruin your stamps at all. Okay, and you can still see through them. All right, get those guys set aside. Okay. So now we are going to color ourselves some mushrooms. And this time, the last time I colored my back mushrooms, the pink and stuff, we're gonna do those in a gray, our shadow mushrooms, because those aren't gonna have very much detail. Let's see if we can zoom in just a wee bit for you. Okay, there we go. So all of our little shadow mushrooms, we're just going to color them gray. And if you don't want your mushrooms having anything through them, you can also mask off your mushrooms in between stamps. But I'm not too worried about that, because it'll all kind of blend away once we add some grass and stuff. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward and you guys can watch the coloring. Alright, so I have those colored, and for the mushrooms I just used a dark, a bright, and an orange. Just mix and match. And for the mushrooms, I started out with the grayish blue, but it wasn't quite dark enough, so I just added some more dark browns to it, which is great because if you don't do it heavy-handed, you can layer them up. All right, so those guys are down. So let me zoom you back up so we can see the bottom. Now we're gonna give some grassy hills, and then we're gonna put our mountains in there. Remember, these are up front, so if you were laying down in the grass, your mountains aren't going to be way up here. They're going to be right through those mushrooms. So we're going to get our grass, and I'm going to do the bottom this way. And we're going to grab our nice dark green, okay? I'm going to ink up this really good, tap it on my glass mat just to get that moving. And we're gonna go our first layer. First layer is gonna go at an angle, like he's kind of in some rolly hills. And I'm starting on the glass mat and rolling the brush in a circular motion onto the paper, okay? And I want my bottom corner super dark, just layer it on, okay, just like so. Nice crisp grassy line. Now I'm gonna turn my stencil over because I've got these little grass patches. Yeah, come here. I made some grassy patches that I thought would be cute on this. So I'm gonna hold this nice and tight right there, and then I'm gonna right off the edge into the design. Alright, now that the grass is all done, I'm gonna do my mountains, but I don't want the purple blue mix to get onto my mushrooms. And here you can mask them off, or we're going to try the Brusho Wax Resist. Now in this card I did it, but you can see that I didn't do it good enough, and so some of that purple came over. So this time I'm gonna be more liberal, just lay that color on there, which it is kind of hard to see because it's clear, but I'm gonna try not to go out the lines and just cake it on this time. Okay, and as I do this, I will put it in fast forward and just color these guys in. So we've colored that. It does leave little crumbs if you push hard, and I think that's what we need, is enough pressure to get those crumbs so we know we're doing a good job, because I didn't have that the last time I played with this. Okay, so now we've got those little guys all inked or waxed over. We're going to do one more thing before we put our crayons away, and I'm going to get one with a little bit of a sharper tip, maybe. Come hither in. Okay, now we're going to draw a lightning. Okay, let me pull out a little scrap of paper here and I'll explain the lightning to you. Okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna find a point in the sky, because we're gonna have some clouds. So we're gonna have a point where some lightning comes down and squiggles. Okay, lightning is not straight, and then off of those squiggles okay, you're going to have little branches. And you can do as many or as few branches as you like. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to come down, branch out, and at least make a Y, okay? And then some little shoots off of the tips of the Y. So that's what we're going to do with the clear. Now, you're saying, how are we supposed to see that? I found that if I look at my paper at an angle and down, I can see the crayon. This time, I think I'm gonna do it, okay, because this one, I started it here and then I didn't cover it very good. So I'm thinking I'm gonna come and have it start off the page. Like we're just catching a little view of this particular scene. So I'm gonna come right here off the page and I'm gonna back and forth squiggly, because remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna zoom that right down there. Okay, and I don't want to go too far because I know I'm gonna have my mountains right here and I don't want my lightning behind the mountains. So there's the center. I'll just come down there and there. Turn the paper so you can see it, of course. And a little branch that way. And follow everybody back up. Just some weird squiggles, okay? And then we have that little bit of dust. I'll wipe that into the garbage this time. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it glisten there a little bit, okay? All right, so now we're gonna do our mountain, okay? And I'm gonna do the top of my mountain. Make sure I don't have any of it. I can actually come up pretty high on that side. So I'm gonna have my mountain right there. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this in place nice and firm, and I'm gonna grab my dusty Concord, okay, or dusty looking purple. We don't want it bright and fresh and cheery, okay? And remember, mountains get purple because there's so much earth. Yes, mountains are earth. However, it is the sky that is between our viewing eyes and the mountain. And that sky gives them a purple haze when they're far away. So I started off the page, blending on the glass mat. Okay, now I'm gonna go the other way. And I'm gonna start off the page, go right to, oh yes. I can already see that it's resisting so much better than the last time. So we've got our layers of mountain. Now we're gonna go in with the sky, so I wanna clean up this purple. Actually, no, we don't need to clean that up. We do need to clean our stencil though, because we can add that to purple, oops, pardon me, to our dark blue, and it'll just help it be more dark. First, so I'm gonna turn my paper so that I can scoop all of this dark blue purple mix. Grab lots of color off of my blue, mix it right on my table, and then go in right off the top. Grab that purple, just scoop it all in, just scoop it all in. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice beautiful blue, and we want it dark in the corners like a vignette, okay? So I'm making like a U shape or a very fat C shape. Okay. Oh, I'm so liking that I put more of that wax down. It resisted it so much better. I mean, because if you look at this one, it's not as vibrant as this one. Ugh, so beautiful. Okay, so now I'm gonna lighten. See, I was pushing hard. So now I'm gonna lighten my strokes and get that rolled in. Okay, circular motions. Oh, look at that lightning just show up this time. And I got a little weirdness going on there, but that's okay, because lightning does that. You know, it does this weird patterns and stuff. Get that shape. Now, before I go any further, I want to use the negative and cover this up, because I don't want too much blue in my purple. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the lid for that one. We're going to grab our bright blue, okay, and we're going to saturate that brush, just saturate it up, because we're going to pick up some of the dark blue that was on the table, okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to start just like masking, okay. You want to cut on the inside of the masking tape so that you don't leave a white halo. Well, with your stencil covering, you want to pull it back just a hair, so again, you don't get a weird white halo. Okay, so we've got that nice light blue. We're picking up some color, and we started off the page, and we're doing circular motions right in, off the page, right onto the stencil. Okay, and then we're gonna come right up into our lightning. That way there can lighten up that area. Okay. Get that a little bit brighter down there, because you know lightning just brightens up the sky wherever it strikes. So that's what we're doing. We're just gonna brighten that up, because my other one, I didn't go up high enough and it's not bright enough there. But I'm loving this, and you can be done, but I do like the cloud definition, so we're gonna go in with some definition. Okay, so that was just gorgeous. So, oh, and see here we have a little bit of blue, so I'm just gonna come right off the edge, grab some of that, I don't know what I just said, but a little white spot. So we want to grab some of that blue and fill that in. Okay, that'll be great. All right, and then we want to grab our cloud stencil, which I have so very well buried over here. Okay, so now we're just gonna plop in some clouds, and we're gonna put this guy right here. We're gonna go in with the dark, go in with some dark, and this time I'm gonna start on my stencil and circular motions off. On the stencil, circular off. And we're just gonna blend everybody together. Let's make them all happy. Happy blending. All right. Oh, I love that so much more. And of course, after doing the first one, I thought, well, how would it look if we added some white highlights? So I've got my jelly pen. Gonna make sure it's making some jelly marks. And lightning has little bits everywhere, so I'm just gonna find little areas and add in some white. And this one's not doing too hot, so let's try our other one. Jelly rolls can be a little finicky. There we go. That's going to be good enough. And I'm okay with it being a little blotchy because, you know, lightning does that. But yeah, you just add some extra squiggles. And this part here we're okay with because that's in the cut zone. Yay me, right? Cover that up. Let's grab our little tweezums and peel. But you forgot, huh? We gotta peel our little guy because we can't have him looking like a rainbow hot mess. And masking magic, properly named. Ta-da! Okay, I'm going to stick that right to where his home is on that acetate. And of course, he can't be stark white. I mean, that's terrible. Now he's under shadow and everything. And usually their underbellies are kind of, they're lighter than the outer parts. So what we're going to do, I'm looking for, do I want orange? I don't know. Yeah, I think I want orange, not yellow. So we're going to do a dark layer of brown. So that is it for the Crayola colored pencils. Okay, and then we're gonna pull this up here so you can see how the wax resist way better this time. I still like this card. My first time go around, and I still like it. It's gonna go to somebody out there, but definitely much better. Here I did it in pinks, and here I did it with the browns. I like that much better. I had a black undertone for this one, added a brown undertone. Okay, and I just think it turned out way better, way better. So now we're just gonna snip him up and get him on a card base. And so that gives us more dimension because now those are off the page, those are on the page, and that is kind of weird. So we're going to grab a black marker. I'm going to use my little Sharpie here, and I'm just going to kind of ground my grass or my mushrooms. I'm going to just give a couple of squiggles. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. And there, I just grounded my mushrooms. Okay, super easy squiggles, just to ground them out. And that's just the Sharpie fine point. You can use whatever you have, even a ballpoint pen. Just need to let it dry. We're gonna make sure that we cut it properly before we go to glue. And I'm already liking this. I didn't get any ink spots on this one. That's good. That's good. That's good. Ta-da! Yeah! Oh, I'm so much happier with this. I'm so glad I redid it. Oh, I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely hit that subscribe button for Fairy Stamper and turn on that bell notification. I do my videos every other Tuesday. And definitely check the description for my YouTube because I will be doing on the opposite Tuesday a live where I use more fairy hugs and integrate it into what I already have. So if you're interested, check us out, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye-bye.